Welcome to our listeners. Thank you for being here on our weekly podcast, the Class Action Weekly Wire. I'm Jerry Maatman, a partner at Duane Morris, and joining me today are my colleagues, Jessica Londe and Ryan Garippo. Jessica is a partner in both our San Francisco and Seattle offices and a team lead for the Duane Morris Insurance Reinsurance Industry Group and co-chair of the firm's insurance division of the Trial Practice Group. Ryan is an associate here in our Chicago office and a member of the class action defense team. Thanks so much to both of you for joining us today on the podcast.
It's really great to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jerry.
Today on the podcast, we're discussing the publication of a brand new desk reference called the Insurance Class Action Review 2026. Listeners can find this ebook and resource on our blog, the Duane Morris Class Action Defense blog. Jessica, can you tell our listeners a bit about this desk reference?
Yeah, absolutely, Jerry. Thank you so much. And I'll also note that it has been linked to on our insurance blog page as well. So this release is Duane Morris's sixth class action publication this year that has an industry focus. The Insurance Class Action Review is intended to and does analyze the key rulings and developments in 2025 from all sorts of different areas of the class action landscape that impact companies in the insurance industry, and it provides insights into evolving and emerging trends. We are hopeful that the insurance companies that we work with and insurance companies out there in the industry benefit from this resource to help them see what their potential class action risks are out there and to aid them, in addition, in their compliance with laws and standards.
Well, class action litigation sure is on the rise in many industries, certainly a truism in the insurance industry. What's driving that trend in this sector?
Well, Jerry, it's really a combination of old risks and new ones. Class actions have been and are now still one of the most powerful procedural tools in the American legal system. There are really few mechanisms that can shape liability in the way that a class action claim can. So, for example, a single claim that might otherwise involve limited damages can suddenly expand into thousands, sometimes millions of dollars, both for policyholders and for a variety of other consumers that the policyholders insure. So that reality has really fundamentally changed the way that litigation environment operates for insurers.
And I'll just jump in and note that the kinds of claims that we're seeing continues to grow in the class action world in general and as it pertains to the insurance industry. So lots of folks might be aware that historically insurers have dealt with class action on various topics, commonly premium calculations, underwriting practices, claims handling practices. But now we're seeing a whole bunch of new categories that are affecting insurance companies and the insurance industries. Those include some of the up and coming issues like data privacy breaches, artificial intelligence, underwriting models, cybersecurity issues, and even, as we've seen, climate-related coverage disputes.
Yeah, and really that expansion reflects how much the insurance industry itself has changed. Insurers now operate in an environment where virtually every business practice can create exposure across a broad customer base. And as a result, the industry occupies a uniquely complicated position legally because insurance products touch nearly every aspect of American life, yet the policies themselves are highly technical and highly regulated.
Well, that description sure gives us some definitions in this space and shows that insurance-related disputes rarely involve just one body of law. It seems like you're dealing with contract interpretation, state insurance regulations, consumer protection statutes, privacy laws, administrative guidance, and many differing standards across multiple jurisdictions. It's truly a patchwork quilt. That complexity certainly creates a fertile ground for class-wide and collective-wide litigation strategies initiated by the plaintiffs' bar.
Jared, that's very true. And it's probably a surprise to no one that plaintiffs' lawyers are increasingly sophisticated when they're navigating all these different areas of law. We're continuing to see plaintiff efforts to certify nationwide and multi-state classes, even in areas where state law variations historically pose major obstacles, because there can be state variations in all these types of regulations and laws, but we are seeing these combined and collective efforts across states. But the upside is that the insurance industry is not without its tools. Insurers are responding themselves with more advanced defense strategies, including things like arbitration provisions, class action waivers, data governance protocols, and improvements in claims administration systems themselves.
I think there's also somewhat of a catch-22 there. Technology has changed the equation and litigation outcomes significantly. And over the last decade, insurers in particular have undergone major digital transformation initiatives in terms of collecting and processing enormous amounts of consumer-related data, which creates both efficiency but also introduces a bit of risk into the equation.
That is very true. And just like insurance companies are underwriting risks that their policyholders are facing on all these issues, they themselves are facing these issues. So cybersecurity and privacy related class actions are, of course, a major area of exposure now. And regulators and plaintiffs firms are really scrutinizing how insurers are gathering, storing, sharing, and securing all this personal information that is part of what they do every single day. And because insurance companies maintain such highly sensitive financial and health related data, just one single incident can quickly snowball and escalate into what we're seeing as large scale litigation on these issues.
Well, the data analytics that our group collects and publishes on an annual basis showed these attributes of the space in terms of more class actions being filed last year than any year before, and settlements were higher than in any other year in the history of American jurisprudence. So you're layering these external economic pressures and factors, catastrophic weather events, inflationary pressures, rising healthcare costs, labor market changes, all putting pressures on insurers' pricing methodologies and claims practices.
Yeah, that's completely right, Jerry. And that combination has created a litigation landscape that is more dynamic and consequential than at any other point in the industry's history. Every day, we're litigating questions surrounding fairness, transparency, and the economic responsibility through the class action mechanism itself. And these issues are of real consequence for insurers.
Well, you certainly learn the plaintiff's bar is nothing if not inventive and innovative, and certainly the future of insurance-related class action litigation is likely to be shaped by many of these forces that extend well beyond traditional coverage disputes. Things like artificial intelligence, climate risks, digital surveillance technologies, ESG initiatives, mass arbitration tactics, and expanding consumer protections are all reshaping class action litigation.
Yeah, Jerry, and these developments are all happening simultaneously. There are courts, regulators, consumers, even the insurance industry itself, which are attempting to effectively negotiate these evolving standards in real time. So, getting out in front of these issues and making strategic planning efforts is critically important for not only corporate defendants, but more specifically as to insurers.
And an insurance executive share with me that these sorts of risks are just enormous because the outcome of a class action lawsuit can be not only financially devastating for a company, but also impair its reputation, create disruption to its operations, and have regulatory consequences.
That is very true. And everyone knows that insurance companies are well aware of their reputation in the market. And bad news and being in the headlines certainly draws regulators' attention. So that's something that insurance companies want to avoid, getting on that list. And it's why insurance companies need to approach class action defense from a very big picture perspective. We look at things like the successful defense strategies that require coordination across legal, compliance, cybersecurity, operations, claims administration, executive leadership, all facets of an insurance company's operation. And it's no longer enough to just kind of try to tackle these cases one at a time as they come.
Those factors underscore the purpose and the motivation behind the creation of the Duane Morris Insurance Class Action Review, and in terms of developing this resource for our clients in the insurance industry. The goal is to create a practical desk reference for corporate counsel and industry professionals who are increasingly having to confront these sophisticated and challenging class action risks.
Yeah, Jerry, and it's those risks and these trends that really reinforce the need for this kind of resource. There are rulings involving class action litigation in the insurance industry every single day, and they've remained very steady for over the past several years. But we really have started to see a noticeable uptick in activity during 2025. We'd expect that to continue into 2026.
Well, from a prognostication standpoint, this suggests the area is only going to continue to grow in importance moving forward for the insurance industry.
I think that's definitely right. I do think class actions are going to continue to be one of the primary ways through which major questions are resolved in upcoming years. Questions like insurance practices, consumer protection, technology, and economic accountability.
Well, thank you, Jessica and Ryan, for joining us on this week's podcast. Listeners, remember to stop by both the Class Action Defense blog and the Insurance Defense blog for a free copy of our new ebook and publication, The Insurance Class Action Review 2026. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Jerry. Always a pleasure to be on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Jerry, and thanks to everyone for listening.